Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to pop on the beginning of this video really fast to let you know that all of the products that you're about to see me make in this studio vlog are available right now in my shop. And also if you use code HOLIDAY15, you will get 15% off of your entire order. The specific info and everything will be in the description box, but yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of this studio vlog. Today is going to be an absolutely insanely massive pour painting day. As you can see, these are all of the pre-taped up lids of the varying kinds. These are the usual palette tower lids. I have some white ones and some black ones, some Kuretake palette lids, and then these are all the travel palette lids that I have taped up. There aren't as many of these because I have been actually slowly pour painting some travel palette lids here and there, so half of the ones are technically already finished and these are just the ones that I haven't done yet. You can see just how many lids I have to pour. This is going to be the largest wave I've ever attempted and I'm really excited because it means I get to try out my new cabinet thing over here. I even have some brand new cookie sheets and trays because I can fit, of course, 8 cookie sheets in here at one time, which is incredible. There's a few of these that I still need to clean up, but yeah, you can see the drying racks still have their paper on them and stuff as well. I also went ahead and graded all the cups. I try and recycle these as much as I possibly can, so I end up grading them if they're like really old and messy. Like I've been using these ones for months, which is awesome because, you know, I don't want to use excessive amounts of plastic if I don't have to. So the ones that are like pretty messed up inside and or have like splits in the side or whatever, they get put in a stack to be the like hold cups, so the ones that actually get the lids just put on top of so that the excess paint can drip off of them easier. So those are all these ones. The ones that are slightly better but still a little messed up get put in the pouring stack. I cannot keep these blasted cups from falling over. So these are the pouring stack ones. So they are the ones that will get the paint colors poured into to then pour on the palettes. And then these ones are the cleanest ones on the inside and they're the ones that will get the actual paint in them. Also pre-cut some popsicle sticks. I don't need them full size, so I just cut them up and you can see they're perfect for this size cup. I also have these new slightly larger cups just because I'm doing such an absolutely insane amount of pour painting today. The colors that I end up using like a crazy amount of, I'm gonna mix up a crazy amount of and put them in those cups. I also already ended up filling up my pouring medium bottles with the giant container tub that I had to buy because I've been pour painting so much. I still need to do that for the resin because they're looking really low, so gonna need to do that later once it gets to the resin time. But now I need to go ahead and select what colors I actually want to use this round. Because I am making such an incredibly massive run, it's awesome because I have a reason to mix up a ton of different colors and not feel like it's going to be going to waste since I am pouring so much. So what I like to do is I just grab the colors that I want to use in the different areas and then pull them over and then mix them up. So here are all of the paint colors that I'm going to mix up. As you can see, there's quite a lot. There's a lot of these that I pretty much grab constantly. They're like my really go-to colors. Like this, I believe, is called dark yellow. This green I know I grab a lot. This blue, I use various versions of this to the point that I now have this massive bottle because I use it so much. So yeah, I definitely have my favorites that I grab to all of the time. Some of these paints are going to get mixed together. Like for instance, I like mixing in this glitter gold, extreme glitter. You can see it on the cap there. Like mixing that into one of the gold paints. So I got a lot of metallics over here that I'm going to mix up. I have some color shift ones. Yeah, a bunch of really cool colors that I'm excited to create some hopefully cool looking palettes with. Accidentally pulled an epic YouTuber fail and completely forgot to show you that this cabinet was working very well before I basically moved a bunch of the palettes that were drying around and emptied a section out because I'm ready to resin them now. So you can see a large portion of the palette tower lids are here, which this is just an absolutely insane stack. It's not even actually all of them, but I have limited space for resin. And so this is where I'm starting, at least. But yeah, I guess you can kind of see in there the trays, like, all of these are now dry. It's just there's a lot of wet paint still in the cookie sheets, which ideally at some point I will most likely invest in more cookie sheets just so that I can resin them back to back really fast without having to worry about the paint drying and whatnot. But right now I do have 4 free cookie sheets. There's these big ones under here that I normally use, and then there were a couple that weren't too messy, so those are there as well. But before I resin them, I actually need to fill up my bottles of resin with these absolutely massive containers, since I was just, you know, buying all of the supplies that I use for pour painting and the palettes and stuff in like massive quantities. So these bottles are basically empty at this point, and so time to fill them up with these giant bad boys. are 2 of the 4 resin trays. I actually didn't even get to resining all of the products that I had. There was just so much this time around, I just sort of universally decided to worry about them in 2 batches. So I did end up going through most of the palette tower lids. So those are of course all of those, and then there are 2 other ones that are completely palette tower lids as well. So mostly it was just the travel palettes that didn't get resined and a couple of extra lids. So there's a couple Kuretake ones and a couple of palette tower ones back there. So probably technically it's around half resined, even though most of the tower lids themselves are done. So now I'm going to go ahead and start taking all of these off. I'm going to try and keep all of the trays still covered since I still need to resin a whole lot more palettes. So here are all of the resin lids. I will say these things look absolutely flawless, so I think my cabinet idea is working out very well. There is not like a speck of any sort of particle on any of these. They look awesome, so very happy that that worked out. So here are most of the palette tower lids all laid out. This literally isn't even all of them, but I decided to even out all of the columns to try and get a good picture of all of the lids while they're still all here together. I normally like to sort of take group pictures of the waves that I build. And now that all of the tape and everything has been taken off of them, I now get to go ahead and photograph all of these for their listings. This is basically the first time my printers haven't been going in like 2 weeks, but I just figured I would show you some of the stockpile. This is some of the stuff that I haven't actually moved over to the new store stock management system, whatever we're going to call it. But of course, most of what I'm stocking up on are the palette tower flats. Since I have so many sets, and I know a lot of you guys like adding extra layers to that, so I need a bunch of those. These are some plain lids because right now I basically grabbed all of the lids that I had printed and customized, but I'm finally actually putting the like DIY kits into my store for the different palette towers. I wasn't sure how much interest there would be in them, but I know some people are just buying the tower layers themselves because they are available and then they have no lid. So now you can get the DIY kits that come with the lids in the Kuretake and the normal palette tower. These are some Kuretake lids, and then I also started pre-printing some of the insert layers because these are pretty popular and I figured might as well have a few of them on hand. I'm not actually sure if I've shown these in a video. Basically, I designed and developed these inserts that fit into these. Of course, everything's balanced. I don't want to try and do this, but they just slip in and fit perfectly into the tower layers, and they mimic half pans and full pans. So yeah, there were quite a few people that were asking about inserts like this because they didn't already have their paint in half or full pans separately, and were looking at a segmented option for the palette towers to use them in that way. So that is why those were created, and I really like them. If all of my paints weren't already in pans, I would probably use these. I just, you know, they look really cool, they're really simple, and I'm just so glad that I can actually produce this stuff. It's so much fun for me. I know I say this in like every video, but this is seriously like an unforeseen dream job for me. And then of course over here in the actual stockpile you can see how many palette layers we've got going on here. The Kuretake ones are down here. There's some empty spaces because that's where all of the lids were. And normally I would pre-package like the 2 layers with the lid and like get them all ready. But since I have just crazy amounts, like this is the first wave of lids. Because there's just so many, I think I'm gonna leave all of the lids separate and just prep everything and then just package the amount of layers that are in the order and whatever as they are bought. Which is actually what I'm going to start to do now. I know I mentioned in the last studio vlog, I think, that I had painted this sort of specifically to use for storage. Right now I have my thank you stickers, which again, I don't think I've ever mentioned these in a video, but I finally decided on a sticker design. This is something that I made like years ago, and I thought it just worked perfect for the like art supplies storage thing we've got going on at the moment. So there's a bunch of pre-cut ones of those that come in every order. But what I need to work on now is actually making these. These are actually some of the older options, but basically all of the palette towers come with the sticky tack stuff so that if you have the individual pans, you can stick them into the tower easily. So I need to pre-package some of that stuff into these baggies and also stick the instruction label on them all and then put them all in here in the different quantities that I need. So there's like a quantity for the starter kits, a quantity for each layer, the Kuretake ones, all of that kind of stuff. So I got a couple of the drawers full. I think that's at least a good head start. Obviously, I can continue to pre-cut the packs and pre-pack all of the tack at other points. So I think I'm going to stop there. Did label the drawers just so that I know for sure exactly what is actually in these. I do have a cheat sheet though that tells me how many squares I need in each pack for each type of palette. Yeah, that's that, and I guess on to the next project. So here is what my round 2 is looking like. These are all of the palette towers, and then over here we have all of the travel palettes. So hopefully I'll be able to get to all of these lids in one resin sitting. I'm going to need definitely more than these 2 cookie sheets. Yeah, let's get cracking on to resin round 2. here's the majority of the second wave of products. Got them all lined up for like a bit of a group shot. I have a weird amount of things, so not everything is included. The travel palettes don't have their 3D printed inserts yet, but I can easily do that later. Right now, I think it's more important if I go ahead and get individual photos of all of these different palettes. Apparently, in between all of my palette picture taking, I completely forgot to properly end the video. So please excuse the palette montage voiceover version, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, all of these palettes are available right now in my store, and don't forget to use code HOLIDAY15 to get 15% off of your entire order. But as always, thank you guys so much for all of your continuous support towards these products, and thank you for joining me for this studio vlog. I guess I will see you in my next video.